This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
You all ready for this?
This is a sham.
No.
Nope.
Y'all, just stop.
Get real.
Good morning. Hello, everyone. Hi.
Hi.
Slowing in on a Monday,
Yeah.
not being too fresh.
It's like you just came into our room with tea.
Good morning, kids. I hope everybody's doing well. We're starting today with news that just came out this morning. So if you haven't heard, the Supreme Court unanimously, I can never get that word right, sided with Donald Trump. He will be allowed to be remaining on the election ballot in Colorado. This overturns the Colorado Supreme Court decision that disqualified him because of his actions during the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol. This also means that Trump will remain on the ballots in Maine and Illinois as well. So I just want to hear our thoughts on this decision. Al, what did you think when you heard this?
Again, precedent. It has nothing to do with Trump. I mean, we're talking about, whether it's Trump or Biden, we're talking about two older guys, and we're not talking about what's going to be happening 50 years from now. And now we have the precedent that if you attempt a coup and it's unsuccessful, not only are we kind of playing around with the idea that you can't get in trouble for that, but you can also run the next year. So it really doesn't disincentivize people to try and attempt a coup should you not agree with the results of the election. What's the worst that's going to happen? You have to wait a year?
Well, can I ask you a question?
Wait,
He's not been, again, I agree with you that I think he incited an insurrection, but I leave it up to the panel. He has not been convicted.
No.
At all. And so would we want to disenfranchise the voters of Colorado or leave it up to the voters if he has himself not be convicted of inciting that insurrection? What do you have to say, or anyone, to that?
Well, first of all, I do want to make it clear he was always going to be on the ballot because, you know, printing.
Yeah, it's already out. Yeah,
so his name was physically on there. Whether it was going to count or not was a different conversation. It's interesting because it's like the law is supposed to work for us, like our judicial system's supposed to work for us. But much like taxes, it works for those who can afford to make it work for them. So when we're talking about, you know, the idea of the Supreme Court making the decision to have an emergency hearing in order to rule on this, it's interesting how things can be sped up in order to accommodate those who are important enough to be accommodated.
Or slowed down.
Exactly. So yes, it's been sped up in this instance, and a lot of people feel that the judicial system is being slowed down in order to make sure that he doesn't face trial before he's elected. But it's almost like my concern is this doesn't feel good for anyone, regardless of who it is, because what's good for the goose is good for the gander. And whatever the precedence is for this, in terms of a president being able to do whatever they want to do and just be able to pardon themselves, that isn't going to be exclusive to just one party.
Right,
Now,
that'll go Democratic. Right, exactly.
Can do that.
Right, exactly.
And I don't think that that's great for democracy either.
Right, I agree with you. What do you think about this idea that he should be allowed? Look, I just very clearly, I don't think he should be allowed on the ballot because he crossed Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, blah, blah, blah. He hasn't been convicted, Jeff. So in that case, should we not disenfranchise the voters? Let them decide.
I think he should remain on the ballot.
Right.
Just because you don't want the same thing to happen, election deniers, I was off the ballot in 5 states or whatever it was, and then be like, I would have won the election had I been on those ballots. I don't want that confusion again, all right? We saw what happened January 6th. We don't need another one of those come election time. Because if it's not your guy this time, in the case of Donald Trump, it might be 20 years from now. Just like Al said,
Absolutely.
it sets a precedent.
For sure.
So it might be your guy on the other side that the government's trying to not keep him on the ballot or her on the ballot just because they want it to go a certain way. I think you need to let the American voters play this one out. It was a 9-0 decision.
Yeah, I agree.
The Supreme Court is stacked Republican, but it's not all Republican, and it was 9-0. The vote in Colorado, I believe it's stacked all Democrats. Allegedly, I don't know that for sure. I thought I heard that. I think it's 7, and that was 4-3 to get him off the ballot.
Right.
So even the Democrats are saying, "Hey, I don't want it to go down like this."
Right.
So, wait, just to be clear, I believe the Supreme Court, though, it's not about parties. It's about the party who actually put you into the seat. correct?
I don't know
or
what you mean.
incorrect. When you say that it's the Supreme Court is all, or it's Republican and Democrat.
It leans Republican. Yeah, it's got the numbers.
Right. So, but that's based on who
appointed them.
Appointed.
Correct.
Right.
But it's right. I mean, it is definitely stacked in the Republican favor. But what they did
But it's
is
not all.
Right. Not
it
at all.
It was a 9-0 vote.
What that is sending a message that we all substantially agree on this decision. And I think it was the right one. Unfortunately, I do. Tomorrow is a big election day in this country. 16 states will vote in their primaries, and it's Nikki Haley's last chance, Al, to try and slow down Trump from becoming the Republican nominee. Over the weekend, she scored her first big win in my own hometown of Washington, D.C. They can't stand Trump that much that they went with Nikki Haley. She is the first Republican woman to win a primary. Meantime, Trump won the primaries in Idaho, Michigan, Missouri. Anybody here think Nikki Haley has any chance of slowing down Trump?
Oh, yeah. Momentum's building. She's going to.
She got one?
What are we doing
I
here?
agree.
No,
I agree with you.
She's like that guy that had to wrestle Hulk Hogan on Saturday mornings, and you know he was going to lose because you never saw him walk to the ring. He was just in there already. And you're like, who is this dude? Like a government name is like Steve Smith, and you're like, all right, it's not going to look good for you. I mean, that's Nikki Haley. She's the guy that's already in the ring, or the woman.
Yeah, but look, again, it goes back to, would you stick around if you were Nikki Haley to be the nominee? They are coming guns a-blazing for Trump, right? And some of them are legit, right?
Yeah.
91 indictments against him.
Sure.
They're not going to get to any of those before the election starts. But they just overruled this. This could have went differently, right? He could have been taken off the ballot, which wouldn't made him a good candidate to
Why
run.
not stick around?
If she just sticks around, I understand it looks a little embarrassing, but she could be the first female president of the United States in history.
The problem is,
if they get something that sticks against Trump. That's all I'm saying.
That's right.
It's like, why
It's
not?
a calculated risk.
Just stay at the table. If you got a couple chips left, just keep on rolling. You know what I mean?
the problem is
I've made them.
I have to. And it hasn't worked out in my favor.
It really hasn't worked out in my
How was last weekend? Did it go well last weekend?
You know what? I came back with almost as much money as I left with, which is a win. A win is a win.
Absolutely.
That's very good.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you something. Super PAC, Nikki Haley's biggest super PAC, left her or recently this week, excuse me. How much money? I mean, how do you stay when you don't have any money?
You don't need to do anything. Odds are she's not going to win. So
you
why
just literally
keep pumping money into this? Just show up when people ask you to show up. Keep doing your thing. Social media is very powerful, and I think she could just hang on. Listen, you're 3 steps away from being president. Hang in there. Why not? I don't know. That's my advice.
We've seen crazier things in sports.
Yeah,
How many times is somebody the 3rd or 4th quarterback? A couple guys get hurt, and all of a sudden, Tom Brady, 3rd string. So you never know when it's going to be your time.
Tom Brady, go blue. What a great guy. Is Rob here? He's mad. The camera guy hates Tom Brady. Coming up on DBL, a woman shares the heartbreaking story of her sister who went to prison for killing her abusive partner, how she spent years fighting for her sister's freedom, and Rihanna performs her very first full-length concert in nearly 8 years at a billionaire star-studded party. But was her stage presence not up to par? Hey guys, we're finding out when she had her second baby, September 19th, 2023, named Riot Rose, a son.
That's a cool
She had another
name.
boy?
A boy named Riot Rose. I hope, is this the first one? The first, yeah, the couple's first child, Rizzo, was born in May 2022. So this is in 2020.
So if your name is Riot, what do your friends call you?
Riot. Riot. What's up, Riot? What does that stand for?
People aren't going to call you
Rose.
Riot all the time.
Riot
They'll be
Rose.
like, Rock, come pick me up. No one's going to be like...
No, if you're mad, how do you go? Riot? That's still good.
I call Erica E sometimes. I don't call Jeff
but
Jeffrey.
nobody started calling me E until probably college.
Down here.
No, I started calling you Cobby like season 4.
Okay, but that was after college.
Yes, I'm saying no one calls you your full government name. And Rihanna and A$AP Rocky, their kid's name is Riot. So I'm like, it's friends that call him Riot, right?
Riot?
Riot Rose.
Oh, what? Really?
Yeah, boy.
Isn't that inciting something?
You know, no one calls me Victoria, and since my mom has passed, no one ever will.
No. I don't know. Maybe you'll meet an older woman that has a tea house. And she'll you couldn't tell me Tori wouldn't go to Sunday tea.
I
Killing the
love
biscuits, killing
Sunday
the,
tea. Cucumber sandwiches, crustless.
You should go to the Brown Palace and wear a hat.
I went to the Brown Palace for tea one time. It was so expensive.
Oh yeah.
I didn't pay it.
Welcome back to DBL. Will Rihanna ever perform again? Well, she did. Good question this weekend. Riri was reportedly paid $6 million to perform at a very lavish Indian wedding. Some are calling her performance, though, a bit lackluster. Let's see what you think. Take a look. Okay, was that a $6 million performance?
I have thoughts on this.
Okay.
Yes.
And before I start, may I just add, there's more to the story that Erica will get to. Mm-hmm. So there's a little.
I really hope Erica's thoughts don't totally negate my thoughts.
Okay.
I have not discussed.
Al, you start then.
But here are my thoughts. I have a friend of mine, obviously a lot of my friends perform internationally, as have I. My homeboy is Jordanian. He did a show over in the Middle East. I don't want to say where because I'm not sure. And he had a long discussion with the booker about what he could and couldn't say, and the things he couldn't say would shock you. Any kind of allusion to an illusion of something was it was not happening. Mm-hmm. So when you are in a different place, the whole idea about dancing, that even something you wouldn't even call sexual, you don't know what they consider sexual. Right. So you dial it back and then you cut that in half. So I think that's what we were looking at. My friend said his set was just like a few sentences because you can't say anything.
You know what's funny?
To respect the local customs.
On social media, someone showed her afterwards, and she starts to twerk, and you see her stop, think about it, and then she goes like this a little bit. Yeah. But she goes to twerk, and you see her look around and realize where she is. So you're right on point on that.
I have nothing to negate your point. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Bravo.
There's a first time for everything. So first of all, the father of the bride is
Mukesh Ambani.
Right, is also just acquired the right. The groom, sorry, the father of the groom acquired the rights to Sephora India, and Fenty, Rihanna's cosmetic brand, is collaborating with Sephora. So this is potentially, she's playing chess, not checkers.
She's playing the long game. You're
potentially.
Thank you.
But also, it's not uncommon for people, like famous Americans, to be brought over to other countries and paid a lot of money.
Sure.
It's more for the cachet of the person that's there. This set was quite elaborate for a 45-minute performance. But let's be honest, Rihanna could have burped into the mic and she still could have made 3.5. So I didn't find anything wrong with this performance. For people who were expecting her to like drop it low or whatever they were expecting,
it's not going to happen.
It was a private event, and we all lucky to have even gotten a glimpse of it.
That's right. And there were fireworks. It was a little bit more exciting at the end here, but we've got more about this lavish wedding in India. 1,200 people attended a 3-day prenuptial bash that was decked out with giant flowers, displays, the huge carousel, a bar with giant chandeliers, even a giant carousel for guests to ride. Among the attendees was Ivanka Trump and her husband, Jared Kushner. Ivanka wore a number of outfits throughout the weekend, including including this gorgeous jewel-encrusted two-piece white dress with a giant emerald earrings, necklace, and headpiece. Billionaire Mark Zuckerberg and his wife Priscilla were also there. They also both wore a lot of Indian-inspired outfits. Mark was photographed wearing an elaborately embroidered tiger shirt alongside Microsoft founder Bill Gates. Here are the bride and groom. He is the son of the wealthiest man in Asia, who is currently 10th on the Forbes wealthiest people on the planet list. I think it was a $150 million wedding. Is that correct? Jeffrey, would you like to have attended?
You've been to India.
Yeah, I've been to India.
Yeah.
Not this part. Yeah. But you know what? $6 million to $150 million wedding is nothing. They just wanted the cachet of Rihanna being there, right? Or Rihanna. Sorry. But yeah, they just wanted her there. The performance was fine. Did you see all the people dancing? Those were all her people.
Right.
They all got paid. Good gig for Rihanna.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Look at all those people are getting paid.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, so good for her.
I was trying to think of a Rihanna song that I couldn't say, so I won't. Let's have our money. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Some say nobody in the world knows you better than your sister, and that is true for our next guest. Michelle Horton was always close with her sister Nikki. So in 2017, when the police came knocking on Michelle's door, her entire world was turned upside down. Her sister had been arrested for killing her partner, Chris, and for the first time, Michelle was told that Nikki had endured years of physical and emotional abuse. Nikki said she was faced with the decision to kill or be killed. Earlier, we spoke with Michelle about how she fought for her sister's freedom. Take a look.
When you first found out that Nikki had not only been arrested for murder, but that she had been in such an abusive relationship, what were your feelings?
It was hard to feel feelings, to be quite honest. It was just shock and adrenaline, seeing the situation that was in front of me. But I was brought into a circle of women who had been trying to help my sister escape. So I was taught from the very beginning, and I just listened and I took it all in.
Wow. All right, now listen to this. You had recently become a single mother when you took custody of your sister's two young kids. That is a mitzvah. That is a beautiful thing you did. Well, the children went through a lot in your book, and I wanted to ask you, what were some of the hardest moments you faced while taking care of them?
Just supporting them emotionally through a situation when they have really big, important questions and I didn't have clear answers to give them, like when is mom coming home, having to tell them that their dad died, having to hold them while they cried to sleep every night, knowing that they had a pain I couldn't fix.
I can't even imagine, honestly. Okay, so your sister's trial, here's a whole nother layer to it. Divided the community, with some seeing it as self-defense and others seeing it as murder. Was it difficult for you to know some people saw her in such a negative light? I can't imagine.
It was difficult and it was uncomfortable. A lot of the people who saw her in a negative light really loved Chris, her partner. So I had compassion for their loss, and I understood that sometimes you can't see what's right in front of you for all of your own reasons. But yeah, it was hard knowing the truth. I thought the truth would come out eventually, and now I guess it has. But along the way, I just had to hold faith that I knew what the truth was, so other people's opinions didn't matter.
All right, this is interesting as well. Your sister Nikki was originally sentenced to 19 years to life, but you appealed and got her sentence reduced to 7.5 years. What was your reaction to that, and what specifically in the appeal process cut that time in half?
So right after she was convicted, a law in New York was passed called the Domestic Violence Survivors Justice Act. And it was a brand new law that gave judges the ability to sentence to a lower sentencing structure. So while the minimum for her verdict, her conviction, was 15 years to life, the minimum under the law was 5 years. At first, the judge denied her, saying that she was not a victim of abuse. And then a higher court reviewed all of the evidence, including evidence that the jury didn't see. And they said, no, in fact, she was a victim of horrific abuse and she should have been sentenced under this law.
Wow. So your sister was released from prison in January, but she's still not ready to speak out. Why?
Well, I think she's ready to speak out and tell her story on her own terms when she's ready in an environment that is safe. Her experience has been her telling her truth very bravely and not being believed by a system that should be protecting her. So that's a trauma all in its own, and she's just in the early stages of healing.
Well, you have led us into this situation by this book. What do you hope your book, I have it right here, it's called Dear Sister, a memoir of secret, survival, and unbreakable bonds. What do you hope that it teaches readers?
I hope people see the full humanity in a story that is often, true crime is often stripped away to, two people, the victim and the defendant, and I hope I open people's eyes to the nuance and to the emotions that accompanied us, and that they see the system around us and the people around them maybe differently than they did before.
That's beautiful.
So many of these things are hindsight 2020 type situations. What do you wish that you would have known in hindsight to be proactively able to help your sister?
I wish I would have realized how much my I wish I would have known how important it is to show the people around you that you are a safe, non-judgmental person, which I thought that I was doing that. And I think if I was a little more aware of what my words and my actions were doing to people who were in unsafe situations, to just always be there as a loving presence for somebody, for someone to feel like they can share things with me.
That's so important.
Great advice. Michelle, thank you so much for joining us today. DBL Nation, you can pick up a copy of Dear Sister, a memoir of secret, survival, and unbreakable bonds wherever books are sold. Thank you again. Thank you. We'll be right back.
Good sister. Welcome back. Hitting the hot tub after a workout could help your muscles recover faster. Experts say that hot water therapy helps boot recovery after exercise and reduces fatigue. Boost, I think they meant. I could not figure out what they meant. What do you guys do to unwind after a workout? Anyone? You do a sauna?
I like a sauna.
A
I like
sauna.
a sauna. Yeah.
Very Swedish of you. What do you feel like it does for you?
I don't know. It's kind of like my little confession booth. I pray in there. I get my sweat on. I don't know. It's just very therapeutic for me in many different ways.
Well, that kind of makes sense because a lot of like ancient, when you look back, a lot of people like went to places to sweat to kind of see spirits and things like that. So
mine doesn't get that hot.
There's something to that.
And I'm not smoking any opium.
Yeah. I was like, do you see spirits? No. That's amazing, though. But if your bathroom is missing an amazing tub, Jacuzzi can help. If you want to start your bathroom remodel, Jacuzzi can help you do it the right way. Jacuzzi offers an unmatched, stress-free remodeling process. Call 1-800-990-3709 or visit jacuzzibathremodel.com. Interesting. So,
what do you do after a workout?
So, and I do workouts, so no one laugh at just after that. I actually take, stop laughing. I take a hot shower and I open the window while I do it. So cold air is coming in with the hot.
So you're wasting water.
Yes.
We'll see you tomorrow. Bye, guys. What happened?